What the heck is the biker hiker? If you watched my intro video, I've gone into a little bit more detail about how I came about with this. But short story is, a couple of years ago, I finally got a motorcycle that I've always wanted to get, and I've always enjoyed hiking, so I decided to combine the two. And this was the very first hike that I went out as the biker hiker. I took a bunch of pictures, and I learned from that. In later videos, you'll see that I've really swapped more to taking shorter videos and combining them. But as a first go around, I just took a bunch of pictures and decided to put them together with my thoughts, and that's this video. So bear with me, the videos will get better as we get going here. But hope you enjoy this one and it helps you out. Wind Creek State Park is just a few miles south of Alexander City. It promotes itself as one of the largest campgrounds in the nation, definitely in the state of Alabama. It has several hundred campsites, all geared towards travel trailers. They're all cement pads with electric and water. Most of them have sewer, but there's no separate primitive campsites if that's your thing. You just set your tent up on the cement pad and away you go. Now you get this nice little map when you come into the park and register and all that. And it's not bad. It has all your standard, eat here, get your tires fixed here. If you get hurt, go there kind of thing for the ads. But on the back side, it actually has the map. And my big complaint about this is even though there's a map of everything and it shows you there's several hiking trails, the print on it is so small that it's very hard to tell where the trailheads are at. Now, if you go down to the marina and you ask them, they've got a bigger map for $1.50 that's a little bit easier to read. It really shows on the back side of it or front side, whichever way you want to go, where the trailheads are at, the different colored trails, and it's a lot easier to make out than the free little map that they give you at check-in. So it's probably worth it if you're going to spend some time up there and do all these trails to just go ahead and spring for the $1.50 and be able to find the trailheads a whole lot easier. The inaugural biker hiker trail was the Alabama Reunion Trail, which was marked in red. It was piggybacked with the Speckled Snake Trail, which was marked in black, and that'll become important a little bit later on. If you look at the big map close up, you can see that both of those are marked out on simultaneously on the map. And the front half of this trail is actually pretty nice. And, good views in the woods, a couple streams or creeks or whatever you want to call them to cross over on the little footbridges and whatnot. And the trail markings were actually pretty good. You had some nice little signs nailed to the trees with both the red and the black arrows, since this was a dual trail at the beginning part of it here. And the hills, well, had a couple of them here and there, but it was nothing outrageous. Now we come to the first real problem area of this trail. Came along, it was one of these wooden footbridges across this little creek right here. And as soon as you got across that, there was no more red marks. It was just the black trail markings for the Speckled Snake Trail. And went on a little bit, and my All Trails app dinged at me, notifying me that I was no longer on the red trail. So I backtracked across this bridge, following my app, and I had to turn right just before this little bridge, but it was kind of growing up, and you could not see the trail very well. You actually couldn't see any sort of markers or anything like that until you went through this small little kind of overgrown area that just didn't look like it was a part of the trail at all. And then you were back onto the red trail, which would come up to the highway. When you cross the highway, this is when things really go downhill for this trail. It wasn't too bad starting out. It was kind of going right along the highway here. You could hear cars go by and see them and that kind of thing. But you got to this great big overgrown area. This stuff was about knee high. And I got through to the other side, and about that time my app on All Trails dinged, and I looked up, and here on this tree was a green marker. So where in the world was the red trail? Using my app, I backtracked it until I came across this. Here's this huge tree covering where my All Trails app says the trail goes to. There is no way around this rascal. So I finally go ahead and climb underneath this thing to come out on the other side, and sure enough, there's the sign, red, and now all of a sudden we got a blue trail going on here too. But in my opinion, y'all are a state park. There is no reason to have a big killer tree covering the path like this. I understand storms went through there a couple months earlier, but I know you guys have got folks with chainsaws that you can come out and section out the part where the path goes. You should not have to crawl through all that stuff to enjoy your hike. The rest of this trail, the problem was really the markings or lack thereof. Here was a perfect example. We got up to this T, and I think it was tying into the orange trail. Well, do you know what happens to red markers when they sit out in the sun? Yeah, they turn orange. So I didn't know if I was still on the red trail, the orange trail. Heck, I didn't know where I was going until I hung a right. And here's this piece of rebar. Now we've got red, blue, and orange markers on this, and that's not a bad idea. But as you can see at a couple different points, the rebar was tucked way up inside some bushes and overgrown bramble and whatnot. You couldn't even see the stupid things. So they really need to come out and do some maintenance on this trail and clear some of this stuff out. And there were a couple more trees that we had to go around or whatever, but nothing near as bad as the whomping willow that we had to get get underneath right across the highway there. But send somebody out, clear the trail. I'm not asking for the whole daggum tree to be lopped up. Just clear a path out for the trail. The last big obstacle was where we came up to this road. Looked like either a logging road or maybe a service road for the park, whatever the case may be. But there was absolutely no markers whatsoever to tell you which way to go on this thing. So if I remember right, I looked at my All Trails app, and I think I took a right on this and kind of followed the road around for just a little bit, and it finally came up to a point to where we kind of crested a little hill, and from there you could see the highway and the entrance to the park, and that was pretty much the end of the trail after that. Just a few thoughts before I close this out. This trail ended up being about 3.8 miles, and it was very pretty, especially in the beginning half before you cross the highway and the markers went all screwy and whatnot. But it's definitely well worth a couple hours up there in the woods, just kind of getting in touch with nature and clearing your mind and whatnot. So don't let any of that hold you back. Get on out and enjoy this hike. Hey, I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. More importantly, I hope it inspires you to get out and maybe do a little bit of hiking. You know how YouTube works, the whole like, share, subscribe thing. Don't forget to hit the little bell, all that junk, so you can get the notifications when I upload new videos. Until then, this is the Biker Hiker. Hike safe, ride safe. Peace out.